Human has experienced various stages of development and has always moved towards perfection. All achievements of this society are undoubtedly due to the greatest contribution of science. Because starting from a primitive lifestyle to the most advanced technology, every aspect of life is a creative outcome of human intellect. Definitely, we mention the importance of each subject according to its function and influence on our activities. However, there is one subject of science that people seldom or hardly mention in their daily life. This is geology. Wonders of history. Geology is the multidisciplinary science that studies the Earth and its history. We live on a dynamic planet that is constantly changing. Our ability to survive as a civilization is linked to the geologic processes that shape our Earth and form its natural resources. Geology is important because almost all the natural materials our society needs, such as oil, gas, metals, building materials, and so forth, are found by geologists. The rich history of the Earth gives us our only window into the likely impacts of global climate in future. As a science, geology is unique in its focus on time, starting from the beginning of the Earth more than 4 billion years ago to present. Combining knowledge of fossils and environmental indicators, the science of geology studies ancient climates, ecological systems and geographies that reveal vanished tropical or polar oceans and eroded mountain ranges that once stretched across continents. Wonders of history.
There are a lot of museums in Tashkent, and the expositions displayed there provide valuable information about the history, customs and traditions of our country. But the museum which we are going to visit today is even more important because the object hidden behind its walls, ordinary, at the same time very valuable for science, shows us various wonders of our Mother Nature. So today, by watching our program Wonders of History, you will get an opportunity to have a closer look at some unique and amazing objects of the Museum of Geology in Tashkent.
The Museum of Geology was founded in 1988. Since then, the museum expositions have been enriched with a wide range of objects found and presented by geological organizations, educational establishments and by famous scientists from Uzbekistan and Central Asia. The total number of the articles displayed in this museum makes up over 32,000 objects. Majority of the objects at the exposition hall are the samples of mining and minerals found in the territory of Uzbekistan and Central Asia, with few precious ones brought from foreign countries. The museum director Ahmadjon Ahmedshayev has dedicated most of his life to studying the geology of Uzbekistan. Every country has a definite reserve of mineral resources. So does Uzbekistan. 90% of chemical elements in Mendeleev's periodic table has been found from the territory of our country. Surely this is priceless wealth. Another essential side of our museum is that the standard collection of minerals gathered from various regions of Uzbekistan has been displayed in one of our main sections, along with many other geological objects. Moreover, the museum exhibition contains fine mountain minerals brought from foreign countries and nice souvenirs made from rare minerals. We should mention that the expositions have regularly been filled since the time it was first opened. The findings are not bought for the museum, but our geologists discover and bring many objects when they conduct fieldwork. They give the finds to the Museum of Geology. As a result, the number of the museum objects regularly increases. The museum mainly has 5 sections. The main hall, the exhibits displaying the geological development history of the territory of Uzbekistan and Central Asia. Monographic and paleontological collections, as well as the main exhibition halls containing useful geochemical mineral resources.
Geology is an exciting subject that combines the indoor and outdoor work. It incorporates with those aspects of astronomy, chemistry, biology, engineering, mathematics, and physics that are important for understanding the Earth and its interaction with the biosphere, the hydrosphere, and the atmosphere. The 5 main sections display various findings which encompass all parts of geology, both in theoretical and practical aspects. And there is a section that always attracts visitors, as they can see not stones and minerals, but prehistoric animal remains. Wonders of history. The main object which we're going to speak about is very old and rare. The scientists regarded it was the most precious finding in geology in the recent 50 years.
You have heard about archaic creatures, dinosaurs, but the bones of this finding is even much older than dinosaurs, and it was found in the territory of Uzbekistan, remaining under earth for 1,800,000 years. Geologists can rarely find fossils of giant animals, for their life period was several million years ago. These findings are the best evidence for scientists to research into the period and environment they lived and to know what the earth and nature was like in those times. The most unique one among these creatures is proboscideans. The remains of one of them was discovered in Uzbekistan and became known to general public as Archidiscodon, which had supposedly lived about 1,800,000 years ago. Wonders of history. In 2013, a village dweller of Karakutai, near the town Ohangaron, was gathering dog rows in Objashtai when he saw strange bone-like remains on the mountain stream. The fossil had emerged as the riverbank had been washed out in the spring downpour. He could not understand what it was and decided to inform specialists. The Geology Museum organized an expedition to the site, as the group was responsible for its excavation and preservation. The geologists unearthed 2 tusks and few more fragments. Hamza Soipov is the geologist who has closely studied this object and knows more about prehistoric creatures. About 250 and 300 million years ago, the creature Archidiscodon appeared on the earth, and its fossils were found from some parts of the world, including Uzbekistan. The scientists have studied 5 species of this animal so far. When the fossils of this creature was first found, the mass media spread inaccurate information that the finds belonged to mammoth. This creature was even much older than mammoth, which was analyzed and decided after deep scientific studies held on its tooth and tusks. In this picture, you can see a mammoth, which appeared 800,000 years later than Archidiscodon. If you look carefully, you can see its tusks are fully curved. However, the Archidiscodon had semi-curved tusks, which was a significant difference between these 2 large prehistoric mammals. We also studied the fossil tooth of this find, applying internationally developed scientific methods on dental analysis, which helps know precise data of the fossil. This tooth was found from Abjosai in 2013. When it was studied using the International Scientific Measurement Method, the number of plastid, the enamel thickness and their frequency, the fossil was fully proved to belong to Archaeodiscodon. Then the scientists faced a big challenge as the fossil started to get eroded by the atmosphere after so long time in natural preservation. So the first thing was to bring the findings to the museum. Then the specialists made a frame for its safe transportation using wood, iron, plaster and special fabric. The next step was to apply a special adhesive for the soft and eroding fossil. The scientists of the Chemistry and Physics Polymer Institute of the Science Academy of Uzbekistan examined the finding thoroughly and offered a special type of adhesive taking into account all structural features of the extinct species of elephant. Eventually, after careful refinement with the glue, the million-year-old animal tusk regained a firm shape and was safe. Now the unique exposition is displayed in the Geology Museum as a clear evidence of the prehistoric times, the life evidence which connects past and present. Wonders of history.
A rose is a beautiful flower which is usually grown in the gardens as a symbol of beauty and love. You may ask what connection rose may have with geology, but there is a certain type of rose that is formed on deserts, on the sands for many years. And this is not real, but hard and rocky, and geologists call it a desert rose.
Visitors are always surprised to see a rose-like crystal among thousands of other minerals in the main hall of the museum. Looking carefully, one can see and feel astonished that this rocky crystal is also another wonder of Mother Nature. So, how and where this type of roses grow or appear?
Ona tabiatda juda ko'p sir sanoatlar yashiringan.
Various systems and secrets are hidden in Mother Nature. Speaking about formation of rocks and minerals, we should mention that they can be found in different shapes. They may be cube, square, round, and so on. And a nice harmony of these forms makes a marvelous shape. One of these nice structures is desert rose. Why is it called desert rose? The sample you see looks like a rose by shape. In fact, this is a kind of gypsum. It turns into this shape as a result of changeable desert weather. As you know, the weather in desert areas become too hot in the daytime and the temperature considerably falls at nights. Consequently, the gypsum crystals combine under the influence of moisture and make up this shape. Desert rose is the colloquial name given to rose-like formations of crystal clusters of gypsum or barite, which includes abundant sand grains. Scientific research state that rosette crystal habit tends to occur when the crystals form in arid sandy conditions, such as evaporation of a shallow salt basin. The crystals form a circular array of flat plates, giving the rock a shape similar to a rose blossom. Gypsum roses usually have better defined, sharper edges than barite roses.
Cho'l atirgullari bu birinchi ilm fanga
The scientists first found desert rose in 1960s.
taqaladi. Bizda geologlarimiz o'sha
Our geologists found this natural structure when they were working on the deserts of African continent.
duch kelishib qolishardi. O'z navbatida
The specialists asked the local people about that finding, but they had no exact answer. Then the scientific research into desert rose showed the rock crystal appears under the influence of temperature, pressure and strong winds.
shamolli kuchi, ya'ni fantil aytadigan bo'lsak, endigi
To put it scientifically, the gypsum takes this form as a result of endogenous and exogenous processes.
yillar vaqt ketadi va shu
The geologists who had first found this object compared it to rose, so it was known to the world as desert rose.
sahro atirgullari yoki sahro kabir atirgullari degan nom bilan mashhur.
They can appear either as a single rose-like bloom or as clusters of blooms with mold size ranging from pea size to 10 centimeters in diameter. The desert rose may also be known by the names sand rose, rose rock, gypsum rose and barite rose. It has no pleasant odor like red roses in your backyard garden, but still allures you with something mysterious hidden in these rocky petals. Wonders of history. A collection of the Geology Museum, having been formed for 75 years of geological history, explored a variety of areas in the country. And today, the geological expeditions make discoveries that shed light on the history of the Earth, gradually enriching the exposition. Today, the total number of exhibits in Tashkent Geology Museum exceeds 50,000, though the visitors are only shown less than half of this wealth. The Geology Museum conducts scientific and educational activities, guided tours for school children, introducing them to the wealth of the country. The museum cooperates with similar establishments in other countries, organizing exhibitions and conducting joint research work. Meanwhile, this institution is not only a museum, but also a scientific and educational center of the Committee of Geology. In the recent years, the museum staff has set some goals, and one of them is to find new mineral resources untraditional to the region of Uzbekistan and to display them at the museum among other exhibits to general public.
Kelajakda muzeyimiz oldiga qo'yilgan vazifalardan
One of the most important priorities for the museum is to raise interest of the younger generation in geology. We have to find many new directions to realize these plans. We also intend to launch several projects together with UNESCO, which will be closely connected with the geology of our country. That will be a good step for us to show that Uzbekistan is not only rich in historic sites, but also abundant in geological features.
tarixiy obidalardan tashqari, ya'ni geologik obidalarimiz ham ko'p degan narsa bo'ladi.
The younger generation from various educational establishments of the country not only come to watch the museum exhibitions, but also they gain precise knowledge and enrich their imagination of the history of the earth, the changes happening underground and natural resources. Indeed, these wonders of nature will inspire the younger generation, who will become leading specialists and make their contribution to the development of geology.
The objects we have spoken about today were the only few ones among the thousands of other museum wonders. If you are fond of geology and want to discover for yourself very amazing facts about the history of Earth, come and visit the Museum of Geology. They say knowledge is power, so keep on broadening the borders of your knowledge, the power which leads you to perfection.